Hello student. Today I will explain you short definition like as a assessment year, previous year, financial year and SSC. Okay. Assessment year means the period of 12 months commencing on the first day of 1 second. First day of April every year. It is the year which immediately succeeds the relevant previous year. Okay, the income earned in the previous year is charged to tax in the assessment year. For example, assessment year 18-19 and commencing on 1st April 2018 and the ends on 31st March 2019. Okay. Income earned in the previous year 17-18 is assessed for tax in the assessment year 2018 and 19. Okay. Then previous year means section 3 इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में जो सेक्शन 3 बताया है इनकम टैक्स एक्ट 1961 सेक्शन 3 of the Income Tax Act define previous year as the financial year immediately preceding assessment year. The income earned in the year in this year, the assessed for tax in the assessment year in the case of newly set up business of or a profession. Previous year mean shall be the period beginning with the date of setting up of the business or profession and ending with 31st March of the said financial year. Thus, for assessment year 18-19, 17-18 is the previous year. Then, second point is financial year. Okay. According to section 221 of the General Clause Act 1897, a financial year means the year commencing on the first day of April. Hence, it is a period of 12 months starting from 1st April and ending on 31st March of the next year. There are some exceptions to the general rule that income of a person is chargeable to tax in the assessment year. In the following case, the income tax. Next point is SSC, section 2, subsection 7. An assessee means a person by whom income tax or any other sum of money is payable under the act. It includes every person in respect of whom any proceeding under the act has been taken for the assessment of his income or loss or the amount of refund due to him. It also includes a person who is assessable in a respect of income or loss of another person or who is deemed to be an assessee or an assessee in default under any provision of the act. Okay. ये थी छोटी छोटी डेफिनेशन जो हमें इनकम टैक्स के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है. मतलब असेसमेंट ईयर कब होता है, प्रीवियस ईयर क्या होता है, फिनेंशियल ईयर क्या होता है और एसएससी मीन्स व्हाट. ओके. उसके बाद हम देखेंगे व्हाट इज द एग्रीकल्चर इनकम, देन रिसीट फ्रॉम हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली. ओके. ये छोटे छोटे पॉइंट है लेकिन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है जो हमें एग्ज़ाम में पूछे जाते हैं और इसके ऊपर ही डिपेंड हमारा पूरा इनकम टैक्स होता है. ओके. तो एग्जम्प्टेड इनकम जो होता है मतलब इनकम exempt from tax जो होता है वो कौन से होते हैं वो देखते हैं, are described in section 10 of the Income Tax Act, out of which some important provisions are described in brief on the following points. Section 10 subsection 1 में दिया है, income from agriculture is exempt. However, if the net agriculture income exceeds rupees 5,000, it is taken into account for slab purpose. Okay. Then share of income of Hindu undivided family for member is exempt. After assessment of tax of partnership firm, the income for its partners is exempt from tax. Then interest received from post office savings scheme, scholarship, then daily allowances received, income of local authority, then income of university educational institutional, or the annual receipt of which do not exceeds the prescribed amount or which is approved by the related authority, then dividend. Okay. Then residential status of an assessee. Okay, मीन्स हमें पता है कि कंपनी एक्ट ने कंपनी को भी इंडिविजुअल पर्सन का स्टेटस दिया है। उस टाइप से अगर हम देखें तो इंडिविजुअल अनडिवाइडेड हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली, उसके बाद कंपनी, रेसिडेंट, नॉन रेसिडेंट, ऑर्डिनरी, नॉन ऑर्डिनरी, रेसिडेंट, इंडिविजुअल, ये सब पर्सन के मतलब एसएससी के कैटेगरी में आते हैं। Residential status of an assessee means the basis of charge of an income under the Income Tax Act depends on the residential status of a person and not citizenship of an individual. Residential status is measured by the number of days the person concerned stay in India. Whether a particular income of a person is taxable or not depends on his or her residential status. In the case of non-resident, income from India is taxable, whereas income earned in foreign land is not taxable. Okay. तो जो ग्रुप है वो कैसे होता है, फर्स्ट पर्सन, उसके दो पार्ट होते हैं, एक है इंडिविजुअल एंड सेकंड होता है कंपनी फर्म। ओके। और हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली और इंडिविजुअल के दो पार्ट होते हैं, एक रेसिडेंट और एक नॉन रेसिडेंट। और फर्म कंपनी के होते हैं रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया एंड नॉन रेसिडेंट। ओके। रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल, सेक्शन 6 सबसेक्शन 1 में उन्होंने डिटेल्स में दिया है। An individual can be resident or a non-resident. A resident can be an ordinarily resident or non-ordinarily resident. An individual stay in India in the previous year is found out to determine the residential status. There are two states of conditions. Okay. The basic conditions are applied to determine whether an individual is resident or not. Presence at least 182 days in India during the previous year, 15-16. Then presence of at least 60 days in India during the previous year and 365 days during the 4 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Okay. The presence in India need not be continuous. Further, the stay need not be at the same place in India. An individual is said to reside in India if he is on the territorial waters of India. The day of arrival and the day of departure are both considered for determining the number of days in India. If hourly data of stay is available, then 24 hours is taken as one day. Okay. Exemptions. In the case of an Indian citizens who left India during the previous year for the purpose of employment or as a crew of an Indian ship, the second basic function is not applicable. Presence of at least 182 days in India during the previous year is enough. Then additional conditions. These are applied to test whether the resident is ordinarily resident in India or not ordinarily resident in India. There are two additional conditions. First one is resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. That means the individual must satisfy at least one of the basic conditions in 2 out of 10 previous years. And second one, presence of at least 730 days in India during 7 years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Okay. Resident means an individual becomes a resident in India if he satisfies at least one of the basic conditions. One of the basic conditions. If an individual doesn't satisfy any of the basic conditions, he is non-resident. Okay. An ordinarily resident means if a resident satisfies both the additional conditions, he is a resident and ordinarily resident. And then non-ordinarily resident means if a resident does not satisfy any of the additional condition or satisfies only one of the basic conditions, then he is resident but not ordinarily resident. Okay. Then what is the what I say residential status of firm company? Okay. Means a firm company can be either resident or non-resident. Resident means when the control and management of the affairs of the taxpayer is wholly in India, or partly in India and partly outside India. The person is resident except a non-Indian company which can be resident only if the control and management is wholly in India. On the other hand, if the control and management is wholly outside India, all these persons are non-resident except an Indian company which is resident even when the control and management is wholly from outside India. Incidence of tax means not required now. Then I will explain you capital and revenue income and expenditure. Capital and revenue income and expenditure. Capital and revenue receipt means are two types of capital receipts and revenue receipts. Capital receipts are those which do not occur regularly and are received due to sale or assets. Accepting donation, taking loans, etc. The general rule is capital receipts are not taxable under the Income Tax Act unless specified. For example, profit made on sale or transfer of capital assets. That is, capital gain is taxable, and revenue receipts, on the other hand, arise regularly from a definite source. For example, salary received from employer, interest received on bank deposits, rent earned on let out property, etc. In case of revenue receipts, the general rule is all revenue receipts are taxable unless exempted from tax under Section 10 of the Act. For example, interest earned on public provident fund is exempt. Also, dividend received from the Indian company is exempt from tax. The difference between capital and revenue receipt are: first one is an amount received as fixed capital or by sale or fixed asset is capital receipt, while an amount received as working capital or by sale of floating assets like stock is a revenue receipt. An amount of compensation for a surrender of certain rights under an agreement its capital receipt. For example, compensation received from compulsory acquisition of land by government. On the other hand, compensation for loss of further profit is revenue receipts. All capital receipts are exempt unless specified under the Act as taxable. On the other hand, all revenue receipts are taxable unless specifically exempted from tax. Okay. And last point is means capital and revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure means expenditure as purchases, additions and acquisition, installation and installation of the assets. On the other hand, revenue expenditure means other expenses of recurring nature which do not create an asset, that for example postage, telephone charges, depreciation, etc. In the income tax calculation, capital expenses are not allowed as a deduction, but revenue expenses are allowed as deduction from the income earned from a specific sources. For example, purchases of a car for business purposes cannot be charged to profit and loss account against the business income. On the other hand, repairs and maintenance of car can be deducted from business income in order to determine the profits of the given business. Okay. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर मैं आपको बताऊंगी पैन मीन्स वॉट, टैन मीन्स वॉट. पैन कार्ड आप सब लोगों को पता है. ओके. तो पैन कार्ड अब बच्चों को तो पता है, बहुत सारे बच्चों का पैन कार्ड भी होगा. तो एक्चुअल में पैन कार्ड क्या है और टैन मीन्स वॉट, उसकी ज़रूरत क्या है, एक्सप्लेन करेंगे. उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है वो है कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ टैक्सेबल इनकम अंडर द डिफरेंट हेड्स. ओके. मीन्स इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी जो होता है उसमें से टैक्स कैसे निकालना है, हाउस प्रॉपर्टी हो तो कैसे टैक्स कैलकुलेट करना, ये सब उसमें इंक्लूड है. ओके. आई थिंक पैन और टैन बता देती हूँ, तो नेक्स्ट लेक्चर हम न्यू टॉपिक स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। पैन मीन्स परमानेंट अकाउंट नंबर होता है। पैन मीन्स व्हाट? परमानेंट अकाउंट नंबर। द इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट ने उसकी डेफिनेशन बनाई है। पैन इज टू बी ऑप्टेन ओनली वन्स, एका व्यक्तीला एकच पॅन मिळतो. Every person who has not been allotted a permanent account number shall within such time as may be prescribed to apply in form number 49A to the assessing officer for the allotment of a permanent account number in the following cases. First one, if his total income or the total income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable under this act during any previous year exceeds the maximum amount which is not chargeable to income tax. And if the being an employer is required to furnish a return of fringe benefit under section 115 WD, and the assessing officer may also allot to any other person by whom tax is payable a permanent account number. Okay. Then TAN means the obligation to deduct tax at source is upon the person responsible for paying the income or amount which is subject to TDS. Therefore, such a person that is payer has to follow the procedure, means to apply the deduction and collection account number, then collection account where the payer has already been allotted time. He is to deduct tax from the income mentioned in the various sections 192 to 196. Okay, ठीक है. तो नेक्स्ट लेक्चर इनकम फ्रॉम डिफरेंट हेड्स देखेंगे. ओके.